Okay, let's unpack this. We're diving into a really significant twist that just happened in the Sean Diddy Combs trial. High-profile stuff. After days, literally days, of the jury deliberating, they came back with what's called a partial verdict. And the judge, well, sent them right back.
Yeah.
So our mission today is to really get into what a partial verdict actually means, especially in a trial like this one, and, figure out what it could mean going forward for everyone.
Yeah, and it's fascinating because this case already had so much national attention, right? Media everywhere, tons of public discussion. This just adds another layer of complexity. It's not just a legal thing. It's watching the justice system work, or try to work, under this huge spotlight. It really sets the stage for potentially a much longer process.
Right. You could feel the tension in the courtroom, apparently. Everyone was sort of holding their breath, expecting a final decision on all those serious charges. The financial stuff, conspiracy, the civil accusations linked to his businesses. But nope. Instead, the jury says, well, we agree on some things, but we're totally deadlocked on others. It was. Yeah, unexpected. Threw everything into uncertainty.
And that really brings up a key point. What is a partial verdict? How is it different from what most people think of as a hung jury? So just to clarify for you listening, a hung jury means deadlock on all the counts. They can't agree unanimously on anything. That usually means a mistrial, full stop. But a partial verdict, that means they did manage to agree on some charges, maybe guilty on one, not guilty on another, but they hit a wall, a complete roadblock on the rest. The judge clearly wasn't satisfied, told them to go back, keep deliberating, reminded them to look at all the evidence impartially, push for a full verdict if possible. It often suggests, that the evidence for some charges was maybe clearer to them, while other parts were just much more contentious, maybe even irreconcilable differences in perspective within that jury room.
Wow. Yeah, I can only imagine the pressure back in that room. So, okay, what are the actual consequences here? Strategically speaking, for Diddy and his team, this isn't just a small delay, is it?
Oh, absolutely not. It's a big deal. Beyond just the uncertainty right now, it really shifts the whole strategic game for both the prosecution and the defense. For the prosecution, they've got a tough call. Do they try again on those deadlock charges? They have to weigh the odds of getting a conviction next time against the, frankly, huge cost and effort of another trial. And for the defense, well, if there were already convictions on some counts, they have to completely rethink their approach for any potential retrial or sentencing. It's a critical pivot point. This kind of outcome can sometimes suggest really deep divisions in how the jury saw things, more so than a completely hung jury sometimes. It signals strong feelings both ways. Think about it. Proving complex financial crimes involves digging through records, right? That feels very different than evaluating civil claims based on testimony. It's easy to see how a jury might agree on one type but get stuck on the other.
That makes sense. And Diddy himself, he hasn't said anything publicly, but his legal team is apparently sounding, well, cautiously optimistic. This whole thing just adds another dramatic chapter to a trial that was already packed with high stakes and pretty explosive testimony.
Exactly. It really highlights just how unpredictable these legal processes can be, especially when you have such a wide range and different types of charges involved. You saw it outside the courthouse, too. Reporters described Diddy's supporters feeling hopeful, thinking the deadlock means weak evidence. But critics were saying, no, it just shows how complicated the whole case is, not necessarily a lack of proof.
Yeah, it's a really stark reminder, isn't it? That even when things might seem clear from the outside, the jury deliberation process, that human element, can lead to these kinds of twists. So now the jury is back in there, behind closed doors again, and we're left with the big question, will they actually reach a final, full decision this time? Or is this partial verdict just the start of an even longer, more drawn-out legal fight?
Precisely. And understanding these kinds of details, these nuances like partial verdict, it really helps you make sense of these complex news stories as they unfold. It helps you appreciate the intricate dance of the justice system. It reminds you that finding justice is rarely simple or quick. It's messy, dynamic, full of these strategic turns.
Absolutely. And it really drives home how fast things can change in a courtroom, from everyone waiting for the answer to suddenly more questions. It definitely highlights the drama and the incredibly high stakes when a case like this plays out on the public stage.